Welcome, welcome, welcome to this edition of Sagionic 1027. We are so glad that you decided to join us today. And with us, I have another one of those guests. And the people continue to say, "You've got to be kidding me. Where does she keep getting these guests?" Well, hold on, I gotta plug in this computer over here. I am of the mindset and was taught by my mom, it never hurts to ask. So when one of my sisters sent me a clip on this gal, this beautiful woman right before us, I'm like, OMG, I've got to interview her. I'm going to go hunt her down and figure out a way I want to interview her because like, after having 5 kids, it's called cross your legs when you laugh, right? And so, or it's like when you say you got to go to the bathroom, it's like, I will rip your head off if you do not get out of my way so I can go to the bathroom. Okay. So joy, laughter, and then I get to learn a little bit about her story, and I'm like, oh my God, where are my Kleenex? Because I'm going to need them. Okay, so today's guest on our broadcast is Kim Purdy. And
Hi.
Kim, since today's broadcast is all about you, you get to decide where you want to land the plane today. So what would you
Okay.
like to share with our viewers today?
My name is Kimberly Purdy.
Okay.
I'm a mother of four daughters that I've adopted, and I'm the youngest of 10 kids. Let's see. I previously was a teacher for 21 years, 21 years at a daycare, and so
Wow.
pretty much busy. I'm currently writing a book. I'm trying to launch my own perfume, so I'm a little busy.
Yay! Now for our viewers, Kimberly, what state are you in? I'm not asking for the city, just the state.
I'm in Illinois.
Okay, in Illinois.
I'm
My
in Illinois.
dad, watch this.
Yes.
I gotta pull up a picture of my dad. Okay, because he gets to hang out with me on set here. Okay, my dad. There's my dad right
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Let's bring him in closer. Okay, so my dad married my mom with 5 of those kids
Mhm.
back in the 70s when it was not common. Okay. But when he met my mom, he goes, "You're the woman I saw in my dreams, and I'm going to marry you."
Okay.
Chicago, Illinois, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yay, Chicago. Okay. Now, wait a minute. You're the young. Okay. Let's just get. Okay. So, if you're the youngest of 10, and then you
Mhm.
turn around and adopt 4 kids,
Yeah.
probably your siblings were poking at you. Yeah, you ain't the baby no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how did that come to be? How did you decide to say yes to that decision to adopt 4 beautiful lives?
My story, I'm always telling people it wasn't me. It was something that God pretty much wanted me to do. Um, Growing up, I wasn't interested in having my own kids for the simple fact that I wasn't married. I always figured, you needed to be married, just to, have a solid family. So that was something that just wasn't for me. At least that's what I thought. At least at the time, that's what I thought. So this daycare that I worked at, a conversation with just me and a coworker. We was walking the kids, and she was kind of complimenting me on how good I am with kids. And so she goes, "You ever thought about being a nanny?" And I'm like, "A nanny? No, never thought about it." And she was like, "Well, you're so good with it, you need to go further with it." And she was like, "What about fostering kids?" And I'm like, no, I never thought about fostering kids, but that's something I can see myself doing. Kids that's already here that needs help. And from that one conversation, everything after that is like a week later, I just kept seeing signage and different things about foster care, and which was weird. I didn't understand it at the time. And
Yeah.
so one day I was on a computer, and the pop-ups,
Yes,
you could
yes.
be working on a computer and the
Yes.
pop-up, and it pop up about foster care. And I don't know what it was, but something in me just was like, call the number. There's a number there. Didn't know why I was calling. even when I called, the guy picked up and he asked, "Can I help you?" And I just started laughing because I didn't know why. Something just like, called his number.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hello." And I said, "I'm laughing because I don't know why I called." And he said, "Well, long story short, there have to be a reason why you called." And, kind of went over some things. He was like, "It's got to be a reason." He was like, "So there's a class that's coming up in your area." He asked me what was my zip code.
Yeah.
Told him my zip code. He looked in, he said, "It's a class coming up, and if you have any more questions, how about going to that class?" Didn't want to go at first. He ended up convincing me to go. I called my mom and asked her to go with me. My mom adopted kids too. My mom adopted my nieces and nephews. And so she was the first person, that popped up in my head. So I'm like, "You want to go somewhere with me?" And when I told her, she started laughing. And I'm like, "No, I'm serious." And so from there, I went to that class and was just intrigued, with the stories, of, how many kids are in foster care and the things that they go through and, everything. And even then, I still wasn't thinking about adoption, or foster care. I just was intrigued by the stories. And so enough to make me want to go back again. And so I did sign up to go back again. And next thing, 4 months later, I have my license. And I was called for 2 kids. And long story short, here we is with me having 4 kids. Yeah. But like I said, it was to me, it was God. It was God.
That's right. And if we think of it, if we think of, were there to technically be a prerequisite, that prerequisite was already placed in your life when you were positioned,
Yes.
loving
Yes.
on
I
those
believe that.
kids for 20
I
years.
believe that.
For 21
Even yeah, even
years.
being in a position to be, it was prepping
Yeah.
me. Was prepping me,
Yeah.
for this time. And even when they called me for my first 2 kids, so I have 2 sets of siblings.
Okay.
So when they called me for the first 2 kids, I fostered those kids for almost a year
Okay.
before a family member spoke up and wanted them to come back home, and they removed those kids from me.
Oh
And I remember telling
God.
the agency, I remember telling
Ugh.
the agency, I'm gonna take a break.
Whoa, don't
You
take
guys
your
can call
breath
me,
away.
right? I'm gonna take a break and give me a minute and let me get a little time to myself, and then before you guys call me, give me at least 3 months. And so they agreed to it, but they didn't do it. I'll say probably within 2 weeks of those kids going back home, I was at work and I got a phone call, and they was like, "Well, we know you said give you like 3 months, but we have a newborn and a 12 month, and we was asking, are you willing to take them in because the newborn, the whole agency, your name just rang the bell when they called because you did so good with the other kids, and everybody felt like those kids needed to be with you." And I'm like, "I don't know." And I said, "A newborn and a 12 month." And they was like, "We're unsure of the race yet, but we know that they need placement." And I said, "Well, give me more information by the time I get off work, and then I can, let you guys know."
Okay.
So when I got off work, they let me know the kid's story. They was removed from a parent for a domestic, not on the kids, not with the kids, but the parents together. And I kind of spoke with my mom again and went to my mom. And I'm like, "I don't know about this. They're talking about a newborn,
Oh
And I was
God.
like, "I don't know." And she was like, "No, I think you should, take him." And I'm like, "I don't know." But once again, I did. I called them back and I told them that I would take them. And when I took them in, I was more worried of the newborn because I'm
Yeah.
like, this baby need, to bond with a mother. And I'm like, "It's
Yeah.
no way I can do it because I'm working every day." I was working 10-hour days, and I'm working
Mm.
5 days a week. It's no
Mm.
way, that
Mm.
I'm going to be able to give this baby the attention,
Yeah.
that she needs. And not only that, her sister was 12 months, so
Mm.
I'm like, yeah, I just kind of felt sorry for him, but
Mm-hmm.
as God would have it, I was at home. I did tell them that I would take the kids. They brought the kids probably a day later,
Oh my
and
gosh. So you
I
had a
slipped.
day's notice to be
I had a
told
day's notice to be
that you
told,
were going
and
to be a brand newborn baby mama.
yes,
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
yes, and so So when I got the kids, like I said, I was kind of worried that I wasn't going to have enough time to bond,
Yeah.
with them, being going to work. So my mom has a daycare. So I had a lot of support. My mom lives right next door to me. She owns a home daycare. So the kids was there while I was at work. And one day I came home. I came home and I think somebody rung my doorbell later that night. And when I went downstairs, I tripped down the stairs. I didn't fall all the way, but I tripped enough to where I sprained my ankle. At least that's what I thought, that I just really sprained it bad. And my sister was over at the time, and I told her, I probably need to go to the doctor,
Yeah.
about my ankle. And she was like, okay, well, let's go. And I said, well, maybe it'll heal better tomorrow. I said, let's wait until tomorrow. And if it don't feel better, then I'll go to the doctor. And when I
Okay.
woke up that morning, it was so bad. And so it
Mm.
turned out I tore my Achilles.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
keeping in mind with me saying what I'm saying, that, I think God had his whole hand put in this. I was worried that I didn't have enough time to bond with this baby. I was off work for 6 months.
You've got it. Here, let me lay out my sister according to Hebrews chapter 4, where it says basically, I've commanded to give rest to my people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I was at home for 6 months. I was able to get the kids on a good routine. 4 months into me having those two kids, I remember getting a phone call, and it was the agency again, and they say, Miss Purdy, are you sitting down? And I said, no, but do I need to? And she said, can you
Yeah,
sit? And I
wait.
said,
You know I'm laid up with this Achilles healing right now, and now you're going to tell me to sit down. Like, what do you want my other Achilles to fall off too?
yeah. Yes. So she said, are you sitting? And I said, no, but do I? She said, yeah, can you sit? And she said, well, we feel like we made a mistake with moving the two kids that I had previously before those two. And, we need to remove them back from the home. And we was wondering if you're able to take them back. We should have never moved those kids from you. They was doing so good. And we're sorry that we even interrupted it. But is it any way that you can take them back? And I said, I have two other kids. And she was like, you have two other kids? And I said, I have two other kids. And she was
Yes, by the
like,
way, you guys gave them to me.
uh she said, can you give them back and take the other two since you had them? And I said, I can't do that because they're young, and right now they've been with me for 4 months, and they need me. Like, I don't, it's hard for me to just
Yeah.
say, okay, come get them. And I
Yeah.
said, I feel sorry, but at the moment I just can't take them. And so she was like, okay. And when I went to sleep, I just couldn't. And when I went to bed, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And I just thought about those kids because I had really bonded with those kids too. And so I just kind of, I was like, well, what if I just got up and I walked around my house? Maybe if I can kind of maneuver some things around my house, I wonder if I can take those kids. Keep in mind, I don't have any kids of my own, and here it is, I'm about to take on four. And so, yeah, that's what I did. I called them the next day and I told them, my plans if I was able to get them. And I was able to get them. They bumped my license to 4 kids and I was able to get them. And so my thing is, looking back on it now, these are the kids God wanted me to have.
That's
Those two kids
right.
came to me first. They went back to their parents long enough for them to call me for the other two kids. And
Oh
then those two kids was
God.
with me long enough because had those kids not had went back, I would have never got those two because my license was only for two. So I wouldn't have even got a call for them. But as soon as I took those kids in and then I got the call back for them and I was able to have those 4 kids. And those I still have the same kids. They never left me. I never got any other kids. I actually had 5. I had two sets of siblings. They had a brother. At
Okay.
the time, it wasn't my younger baby. It was their brother. It was
Okay.
the brother and a sister, another sister.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. So
yeah.
so
So
can you share with viewers two parts. Um how when you gave your yes, how your mind came into agreement with that yes. So when you spoke your yes, your mind, your will, and your actions came into agreement with that. Can you break down that process a little?
Um, Only thing that I can say to that is that I just let God lead. I
Mm,
listened.
mm, mm.
And that happens a lot with me.
Okay.
I can be sitting and I'll get a thought in my head and I'll speak out, and I'll be like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. And that was one of those moments. At that time, that was one of those moments, and it wasn't even me. It was just that was something God wanted me to do. I feel that He wanted me to do because it wasn't me. Like if I had my way, there's no way that I would say, okay, I'm gonna take 4 kids. God pretty much gave me that, and
That's
I
right.
listened, and that's what I took on. And
That's
because
right.
I listened, He gave me the means that I needed to take care of those kids. And they are wonderful kids, and I did it easy. Everybody
That's
asked me
right.
how do you do it, and I did. And at the time, the ages was 4 weeks. I had 4 week, the 12 month, and when they came back to me, they was 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old, and four. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
That's
I had to.
amazing. And you know what I love is and you don't need to comment on this, okay? But I'm just going to interject my thought. One thing that I love is for our viewers, this is this is my dad who raised us, okay? And when we were introduced, my dad said, "These are my kids." and and it was so strong in my mind that it wasn't until I was literally 20 years old when somebody said to me, because we all grew up in the same house, right? When
Hmm.
somebody said to me, "You mean those are your stepsisters?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Those are my
Hmm.
sisters."
Yes,
What are you talking about? Those are my sisters.
that's
So
fine.
can you share with viewers the mama dominance that came over you, and share with them how you chose to protect them from negative, oh so special people in the field, we'll call it, right?
Yeah,
Share,
yeah.
give some examples.
Well,
Obviously generic.
so yeah, so some of the things, I never wanted them to feel like they was different,
Yeah.
So even, going through the foster care system, you know, the agency and the caseworkers, they're into my house. I didn't allow them to come in the house and say, well, I'm your caseworker. They had to introduce themselves
Ah,
as their name because I didn't want them to think anything different. I know how cruel kids can be in school, and if they go to school, yeah, I'm in foster care. I know how those kids would treat them. So
ah.
they grew up the same way. They didn't know any difference. My kids, I have, like I said, two sets of sibling, African American, and then I have a set that's Hawaiian and Filipino. And even they did not know that they looked at each other as sisters and brothers, and that's how they was raised. And
That's
so
right.
we never really pretty much got the negativity. These are my kids.
That's
These are not my foster kids.
right.
These are my
That's
kids.
right.
And I made sure everybody that was in their present, treated it the same way. And right now today, you can't. They're close. Their bond is close, and these are my sisters.
That's
So
right. And you
yeah,
know what's
we
so
all.
beautiful? Is what's so beautiful about this, Kim, is the fact that I can't even imagine the leaping. Is your mom still here, or is she in glory?
Yes,
Okay,
she's here.
so I can't even imagine what it's like as a mom to think number one child, number two child, number three child, number four child, number five child, number six child, number seven child, number eight child, number nine child, and number 10 child. And then I think of the verse. Oh, I'm gonna cry. For Kim is God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do wonderful, amazing, glorious things.
Hmm.
And now we're gonna put slang in there. Who done created her
Mm,
through
yes.
her 9 older siblings. so that she could walk out being a mama to more kids. Oh,
Yes.
Lord, that's so
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
That's so
It was, yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. It's just almost like I can see, I can just see God's hands all over it. Even
Yeah.
from, just the beginning. Of me not even having kids of my own, and to
Yeah.
me working in daycare, giving me the patience that I needed. It was all in the making.
Yeah.
It was
And
all in the
and
making,
and even
and
now the cat is like, "Mama, none of the kids are here and now's my time. You're supposed to be
yeah,
giving me all
looking
the
for attention.
attention."
Yeah.
So sister, would you say you're done? Are you done at the four mark?
um, I'm gonna leave it up to God. But for me, once again, if I have to answer that, yes, I'm done.
Yeah.
But I do have that habit of listening. I know when to listen. So, but yeah, four is enough. My son that's not with us anymore. He's close by. He's still busy. He still calls me mama. And so he's still in our lives, and by God's grace. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Come here,
that's
Hazelnut. Come here.
amazing. Okay, so
Yeah.
now tell viewers a little bit about we'll call it the spicy G-rated side of Sister Kim. Okay, the reason I say that is because that's creativeness, right? How I came to know you was through creativity, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I was hysterically laughing. I took it as a challenge. I told my siblings, my 5 siblings, right, on our group text, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get an interview with this woman because she is hilarious," right?
Yes.
So tell viewers a little bit about how you decided to say yes to that creative edge you have.
So, something that I remember growing up, just me being the youngest, um, I got to witness certain things, and just different like cousins and different things like that. So I kind of knew how things were. And on that video that you seen, it was just something that I remember growing up. I don't
Yeah.
think my mom ever had to get on me that way, but I did see it done. And so I knew a lot of people could relate to that video.
Yeah.
And so when I look at the world today and see how different it is, I just thought that it would be something to recreate with my kids to put out to the world to see how many people remember, and so many people do. They can relate, and just
Yeah.
to put through a little humor in with it. so
Yeah.
so yeah, we had fun making the video. The video got so many different views. It wasn't a video that I created. It was one that we redid of a skit that I seen, and I
Okay.
just wanted to
Okay.
recreate it. And I was explaining to my kids how that's how it used to be. So
Yeah. And you know what's so funny? Because it throws me back into childhood, right? And I was my mom's strongest strong-willed child. Okay, and back then they used the word stubborn. They didn't use the word determined. But I was actually
uh-huh.
determined, not stubborn, just determined, right? So I remember. Okay, I'm going to ask you to recreate this. Okay, I'm literally going to ask you to recreate this one. Okay.
Okay.
So at the end of the school year, right, you'd have the field trip day at the end of the school year. Maybe there was the choir singing a song or whatever it was, right? And I was in the 5th grade. Oh my gosh, my mom made me this dress. I'm sorry, Mom. But my mom made me this dress that was yellow and white, teeny tiny squares, and it was material that you would use to put on a quilt. And it was long sleeve, and it had this lace looking contraption that went like this, and I looked like I was in the 3rd grade, and all the other girls were wearing their little one spaghetti strap sleeve with their little 8 little things over their lace little things over their shoulders and everything. Oh, it just looked dreadful, right? But
Mm-hmm.
this is what was tradition for the last day of school. I am not I gotta get it out. I am not kidding. You kids better get over there and look in the lost and found and get some coats for next year, because they're just going to turn around and give them all the way to Goodwill. And I was like, and even back then, I didn't even know King Jesus, but back then I couldn't. I was like, Mom, that's dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, I am not playing. You better get over there and get yourself a coat for next year. And I was mortified, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
then as adults, 2 of my sisters One of them went to a baseball game. It was at the end of the school year, basketball game. It was at the end of the school year. She walks by the lost and found, capping a video saying, look at all the shirts. Well, then my other sister leaves her house, drives over to the school, and now there's both of them picking out clothes at the lost and found. And I about lost it, Kim. So you need to do that skit, because this is real. This is real stuff. But
Yes.
but as a child, I was mortified. Oh my gosh, I was mortified. You know, we need humor. We need it.
Yeah,
We need it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This world. Yeah,
Or there was
especially.
or there was a time where, like, I'm not kidding when I say we went to 5 food banks a week. That's how my mom fed us growing up, right? Five different food banks in the city. Because if you're in your local city, you could only go once. So mom bounced to the other cities, right? And where you didn't have to use your address, she just showed up, right? Well, one year at one of those food banks, my dad, who grew up in Chicago, Illinois, for goodness sakes, they gave us a chicken and a goose. A chicken and a goose. My dad, who grew up in the thicket, my dad had to cross over 2 sets of railroad tracks to go to school, right? And we know what took place when he went to school and when he came home, right? It was his job for Thanksgiving to make those food ready.
Wow.
And so you see a picture of that goose walking around our house, right? And that chicken walking around our house. You see those pictures and you lose it. Because my dad the only thing my dad had ever killed in his life were certain particular bugs that were like this big that ran around the community, right? That's the only thing he had ever killed before. And now he's doing away with a duck, with a goose and a chicken. Oh my gosh. Kim, these things need to get out there more.
It needs to get out there. People need to see it. People need to see it. So yeah.
Yeah. So okay. And so does your mom, is she done doing the daycare or?
My mom still does the daycare. Yeah, my kid still goes to the daycare. She still has a home daycare. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. So when you were thinking about this interview, or thinking about like, oh gosh, I hope she doesn't ask me that, or I would be willing to share this. Okay, what is something that you think is important for parents, or for a single person to hear?
Something that I think is important is quality time. I think that's real. That's a real big deal. Quality time. The kids need it, especially today. The world is just so different. And it's so many things that the kids today are not able to do, things that we used to do. And I just feel like that quality time is spending as much time as you can and teaching these kids, because without it, then they're out here in the world for the world to teach them, and it's going to be the wrong way. So I would say, spend that quality time and understand and talk to your kids, talk to them, really talk to them, get inside their head, and, know information of what's happening in school and things like that. Stay involved. Stay involved with them.
That's really good. And I like how you say, have a conversation with them, not talk at them. Have a conversation with them.
Have a conversation. Yeah, my kids enjoy conversations all the time. We're always talking. We're always having those conversations, and they'll let me know, like, I love our conversations. Yeah, they need it. They need it. So,
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, kids are so overlooked. Because they're kids. They're overlooked. It's hard for them to have an opinion of things because they're so overlooked. But having those conversations and leaving things open helps.
I can't even imagine the community influence that your mom had in caring for kids. I can't even imagine. Yeah. Your mom probably, because she's probably done daycare for more than a minute, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, but the impact of just loving on the kids.
Yeah, my mom actually worked at the same daycare that I worked at, and so and I also have a sister that worked at the same daycare, and so it's her and my mom that runs the daycare. And so yeah, it's a big help. It's a big help.
That's amazing. That's
Hmm.
amazing. You know, because you think of kids, kids don't need more stuff. They don't need more stuff, right? It's not,
Hmm.
if we work hard, then we'll have a bigger house. If we work hard, then we'll have bigger or more. They just need
Hmm.
that relationship,
They need
right?
that relationship.
I
Hmm.
was
They need
talking,
that time.
yeah, I was talking to two of my grandkids yesterday, and I shared with them, you know, you guys may not have a big house or this, that, or the other, right? But when you go into a house where they don't know Jesus, you are wealthy guests that are being
Yes,
invited into that home because you carry the presence of the Lord.
that's
You
true.
love the
Yeah.
Lord. And so
Yes.
you're the honored guest. So I shared with them, don't you ever go into a house and think you are less than because of whether it be fill in the blanks, right? Don't ever. You are an honored guest because you carry the loving presence of the Lord. And their
That's
little
true.
eyes just lit up like, me? And it was just like,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
You know, and so
Yeah,
can you,
they need that. They need to hear things like that because,
yeah.
as you know, you got, so many kids in the world that's, depressed and, want what this kid have and that kid have, and, just having those conversations with them and letting them know, like, yeah, you're enough. You don't have to have what this person have. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's just being there and having them conversations. It helps a whole lot with kids.
that's right. And you know,
Hmm.
Sister Sean has interviewed some movie producers and some people behind the scenes like that I'm going to introduce you to because
Okay.
I love the core value of your heart. Right? I
Okay.
love your heart.
Hmm.
I love your wisdom inside. And so, if you could share one of the okay, so before the kids, okay,
Okay.
you're working at the day. I don't even want to say that. You're blessing the kids you're blessing the little kids because I don't want to call you
Yeah.
a worker. You're literally
Okay.
you're blessing. You know you were positioned there to bless the kids. That's a
Hmm.
very high place. Okay, so can you share an example of um, I'm going to call it self analyzing,
Hmm.
where you were at a date, an age date, where you thought some kind of clock was ticking on you, and how you overcame that. Okay,
Um.
so you know how sometimes women think that, oh my gosh, I'm this age and I'm not married yet, right?
Mhm.
So share how you overcame a moment of the time clock, an age time clock.
To be
Be
honest, I never was one to be fascinated. Was fascinated to be a mom. I have to say that I never, I always was the one that look at a baby like, oh, they're cute, but I was glad that I didn't have kids. Even though I was so good at what I did at work, with the kids, people always thought like, oh, you need to have kids, and I was like, no, I really don't. I just I never was wanted to have kids on my own.
yeah,
And like I say, maybe that just wasn't instilled in me because I was waiting for these kids. It
yeah.
wasn't until I ended up getting my kids that I just really became warm hearted about having kids. Before then, I didn't have that. I didn't have
You
it.
were just satisfied, and you were just
I was
given,
satisfied.
and you were just given that demeanor, like you woke up, and had joy. You went to sleep and
Yeah,
had joy. So
yeah.
you were given the disposition to look at things with a brighter perspective.
Okay,
Correct? Would
okay,
you
yeah.
say that instead
I'll
of,
say that.
yeah, with a brighter perspective, cuz that's a gift. Honestly,
Yeah,
that's a gift you were
it
born
is.
with.
Yeah. Yeah, so I accepted things for what it was. I did.
Mm.
I did. It wasn't until I had the kids that I just really had my mother moment.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it was this was meant. This was
Okay.
meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So share with viewers, in looking at your different children, okay?
Okay.
So for me, I think, when you have your first one, you think, oh, I'm going to raise this child perfect, right? Oh, I'm going
Hmm.
to do all the right things, right? You go back in the day and it was like, my child's going to wear cloth diapers, right? And then once you experience, you're like, this is like basically, no, this is wrong. We are not doing the cloth diaper. Where are those disposable diapers at, right?
Yeah.
um, so share with viewers the wisdom insight that the Lord has given you, um, pertaining to individuality. So you're the mom of their children. Yeah,
Individuality.
individuality. Like you can't raise them all the same way.
You
Cause
definitely cannot raise them all the same way. And I never, even before I got them, I never thought that. So that was one reason I was so good at what I did at the school that I worked at. I was one of the top teachers. I was the one that they wanted me to go around and kind of show some of the other classrooms my way of doing things. And my way of doing things was treating everybody as an individual. You cannot teach and treat everyone the same way. Everybody requires different attention. And so, because I had so many years of experience with that, that's what I put in with my kids that I have now. I treat them all
mm,
different. They all require different attention. And because of that, it works for me. It's easy for me because I'm giving them the attention that they need. Not what I give one person and I'm going to give all of them the same. It's not like that in my house. And I don't treat kids that way. I don't treat
right.
people that way. Everybody requires different
Yeah.
attention. Yeah.
That's good. So back in the day, there was a book called the like Languages of Love, or the different love styles, right? So
Yeah.
can you share a little bit about that? How you naturally learned that, in your profession you were in, right? And not only that, but how you've watched it out loud with your own children, different styles of of needs, or different styles of what they give out, right? There's certain
Hmm.
love languages people need, but there's certain love language they give out, right? So can you
You're
give us
right.
some examples about that?
Well, I can give an example. Like, for instance, one of my kids is she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 2 years old. And so that's a difference. I have to treat that in a different situation. I'm honest with her and I let her know that because you have diabetes, these are the things that you have to, just being honest with them.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know um you know it's a difference. She have delays as well. And so, she couldn't be treated exactly the same as them, but I try to treat her, as close as I could. But
yeah.
all kids just deserve different type of love. And like, I hate to hear people say, well, I treat all my kids the same.
You
That's
can't.
you
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 can't.
cannot. That's
Yeah,
it's no way possible you can treat
yeah,
all of them the same. They
yeah,
all are different kids, and you give different love. You love all your kids. You love them all. You love them all. But it's no way possible that you can treat them the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting, Kim. Here's the phrase: loving them as they are.
Loving them as they are.
Right?
Hmm.
That's a book.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
another it's another book, sister. Loving them
Yeah.
as they are. How to Love Your Child How They Were Created, the subtitle. Loving Them
Hmm.
as They Are, How to Love Your Child How They Were Created, right? Or how to
Yeah.
communicate with your child how they were created. Love them as they are.
And how to communicate, which is
Yeah,
important. How to
yeah,
communicate, talk to them, help them to understand, why, people may treat you this way and that way, help them to understand why you have to be treated like with her. I have to explain to her all the time why she have to have insulin, and
yeah,
why you just can't eat the exact same thing that they eat. And right. And she understands that, you know, I see people would treat their kids different. Just take her again, for instance. She has diabetes, and a lot of people probably wouldn't want the other kids to eat a certain thing because she's right there. I didn't do that either. I wanted her to understand that
mm,
you are different because you have diabetes, and if I treated you that way, and I hear from them eating something and you can't, then she'll grow up and think that she can still have anything that she want or want to seek the food. But I had to make sure she understood that I do have
yeah.
I'm different. And I can't just have anything I want because of this. So it's about being honest with the kids too, and kids are so much smarter than we give them credit for.
That's right. I was driving home a week and a half ago, and normally when I pop off the freeway from where I popped off, it's like less than 10 minutes to get home, right?
Hmm.
And so one of my I had four grandkids in the car, and one of my grandsons said to me, "Graham Cracker, and he kept telling the time, and I had to say, I called him by his name, and I said, actually, Graham Cracker refuses to function in panic when I'm driving.
Hmm.
I refuse
Yeah.
to do that because I just want to easily roll to get home, right?
Hmm.
And then out of his mouth came, "Graham Cracker, you mean your spirit man is in control?" This is a 9-year old grandson. And I'm like, I wanted to say that verse. "It is not you that revealed this to you, but the Spirit of the Lord that revealed this to you," right? Because I was like, what? He's 9.
Yes.
He's 10, but in my mind I wanted him to be 9, because I think of, the other 10-year-old is in November, and then he's the 10-year-old in January. But yeah, they are so much smarter.
That's so
and
much
and,
smart.
and we
That's
just
smart.
if we and I also noticed as a graham cracker, maybe as a mom I was more like talking at him, right? But as a graham cracker I get to redeem what didn't understand then, because I was trying to overcome my own stuff, right? But
Hmm.
to look at their little faces, right? To look at them, is so important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the eye
Yeah.
contact with them, especially when you're teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're
I
working
have.
you're working on a book, right?
I'm working on a book, and that book is called The Truth,
Okay.
and it's kind of surrounding what we're talking about now. My kids from before I had them, and during the time that I have them, pretty much some of the things that we just talked about. But what inspired me to write the book was because the DCFS system. You know,
Hmm.
I wanted people to know the ins and outs. I wanted them to
Yeah.
know the good part about it. I wanted them to know the bad things. We experienced some bad things, and
Yeah.
I just feel like, it's things that people need to know. And then at the same time show them how we prevail,
That's right.
and that, how it is still good, just for people that's in my shoes that want to go into foster care or adoption. It's a whole lot more, that you have to think about, especially the kids. One of my
Mm-hmm.
main thing was to, because I felt like they already had trauma to even be moved from their
Mm.
parents. I didn't want to add to it. I wanted to be the
Yeah.
best mom that I can be for them, and go that extra mile, and then just make sure you just pay attention, and teaching them, and just having that patience for them. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to write a book just to give people insight on it, and really to give people insight on the, like I said, DCFS system. They, one, they say that they're for the kids. Sometimes they fail the kids, and I wanted people to see this.
Mm.
And so in my book, I'm talking all about that in my book.
Yeah, it's so wise. And I can't wait to have you back on again,
Yeah,
so that we can discuss your book and promote your book.
yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah,
It
and
just,
and I named it The Truth because once again, like even with my family, like, people always think that I have it together, at work. People like, "Oh, you so good at what you do, and you're just so good with everything," and my family treats me the same way, but it's things in that book that, gonna be some odd moments. you
yeah.
know you know I don't wear my feelings on my sleeve, so people tend to think that I'm so strong. I'm weak too at times, just like other people, and
Yeah.
people will see that in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you ever watch that movie by Drew Barrymore called Forever After?
I don't think so.
Oh
No.
gosh, you have to watch it. There's a B moment. Okay,
Okay.
this is when it's not it's probably PG, right? But it's not it's yeah, no, it's a clean movie. It's totally a clean movie. It's probably PG because of some different conversations or whatever. But it's a clean movie. Um, and there's just when you get to the B part, okay,
Hmm.
just remember the B. And
Okay. What's the name of it again?
it's Drew Barrymore, and
Okay.
it's Forever After.
Forever After.
Okay.
Okay.
It's one of
Okay.
those. Okay. One of my favorite movies is House Guest by Sinbad,
Okay.
right? Or I
Okay.
like The Help. So it's along that genre of a movie you watch and you're just like,
Okay.
oh my gosh. Oh my
Okay.
gosh, this is so good.
I'll make sure to watch that.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you just really want to share? Like you feel it right there, and I don't want you to walk away and think, "Oh man, I wish I would have shared that."
No, no, I think we pretty much touch base on, some things. Just yeah, I want people to be ready for my book when it come out. That
Yeah.
it kind of shine a whole lot more insight on who I am, who my kids are, things we overcame, troubles that we passed, that came to pass, and so different things. So yeah, just be on the lookout for my book, The
That's
Truth.
right. I
Yeah.
love the wisdom insight that you walk in, Kim. And when
Okay.
you were talking about how, wait a minute, 2 to 4, what are you talking about? And then how are you going to rearrange stuff, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as you said that, I thought of Dr. Miles Monroe, right? And
Hmm.
the wisdom insight he walked out, right? So all of like 2017, I listened to Miles Monroe around the clock. Because once somebody introduced him to me, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is so good, right? But I
Hmm.
love that Dr. Miles Monroe came from a 3-bedroom house in the Bahamas, right? Where there was like 9 kids up in one room and like another 9 or so up in another room, right? And then the parents
Hmm.
were in the other room, right? Literally
Yeah.
dirt floors, right? And Miles Monroe disintegrated excuses in life because what he
Mm.
walked out.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Dr. Miles Monroe?
I did. Yeah.
Okay,
I
but
did.
but he disintegrated the lies
Hmm.
of
Yeah.
walking out wisdom. Like
Hmm.
literally. So I love that your book's called The Truth.
The truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just yeah. It's so many different moments in there that you hear the truth on. So it's
Yeah.
not one different thing. It's not one thing that's in that book. It's multiple things, and it's telling the truth. It's telling my truth.
That's
It's telling my
right.
truth, and it's just to encourage other people that's in my shoes, again, that want to go into foster care. um it's hope at the end. I had my kids
Mm,
was 4 weeks, 12 months, 14 months, 4 years old, and 2 weeks. So I had them all as babies.
mm,
Their ages now is 6, 11, 12, and 15 and 10. Yeah, so
mm.
look how many years I had them. They have all my ways. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing at the end,
That's
but it is some
right.
challenges. Yeah, some
Yeah.
challenges though.
And so, sis, for your movie, I'm going to introduce you to people. I know 2 different people that could produce a movie for you, and then I'm
Hmm.
thinking of the soundtrack already, right? And so,
Uh-huh.
so I'm going to introduce you to my good friend Kaya Rice is her name, and she's with and her label is Virtuous Music, right? And then
Okay.
and another gal is Becca Shea, and both of them are like, you've got to be kidding me kind of music.
Yeah.
And I can see these ladies' music.
Hmm.
And then my friend Mezzolini, and then my adopted nephew Curtis Hoppy. Those 4 artists, I could see them doing soundtracks to
Yeah.
go in a
Yeah.
movie.
It's definitely a movie. It's a movie.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and people always telling me, you gotta tell your story. Like, people needs to hear it. People needs to hear your story.
Yeah,
So people that know me, they know my story, and yeah, I agree. People needs to hear it. People need to see it.
that's
Yeah,
right. I'm so honored that you said yes to this interview, and I
yeah.
bless
And thank
you.
you.
I just bless you, and I just ask, I just call forth, in the world atmosphere that, Kim Purdy will go further and farther in life
Yeah.
because she chose to say yes to love on the kids.
Hmm.
Because you
Yeah.
chose to say yes. And so I just bless you, and do be letting your mom know that if she would give me the honor of interviewing her, I would like to
Okay.
interview her because motherhood is a high calling. It
Yes.
is. It is a
It is.
high calling. And I would love to interview her because you are the fruits of her labor And so
Yeah, and when you meet my mom,
yeah.
you would feel the godliness in her. You would automatically feel it, and you would automatically. And so that's my mom. She's a strong woman, and because of her, her kids are strong, and and we carry it on, and it's because of her. You'll see it when you first see her and meet her. You will see it already.
Oh, I cannot
Yeah.
wait. So you connect us. You connect us, and you have my contact information to pass along
Okay.
to her. And I want to let our viewers know that underneath this YouTube video, you'll see the word about. If you click on that word about, you will find out how you too can get in contact with Kim Purdy.
Yes.
But I'm going to hook her up with these other people first. So nobody thinking they're going to be snatching rights on
I
her
know.
to do a movie, because I already picked out the soundtrack personnel, and I know what producers I'm sending her to that have their own everything. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, sis, I'm so blessed by your time. I thank you.
Thank you
Just,
so
oh,
much. I have some. So you have my information. You have my
yes.
Instagram. You have my Facebook
Yep.
pages information. So
Yep.
thank you.
And I went and got the link. So I went to your
Okay.
Instagram link, your two
Okay.
different
Sounds
Facebook links,
good.
and got the link so that under the YouTube video people can just
Okay.
click it and it'll
That
pull up.
works.
Yeah.
That works. So
Yeah.
thank you so
So
much.
blessings so much to you. And I want to tell all of our viewers, thank you for coming to this episode of Sagionic 1027. And until
Yes.
our next broadcast and our next guest,
Bye.
may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon thee always. Blessings. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.